Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the explosive twist that could shatter the Quartermaine legacy forever. In the heart-wrenching episode airing on Monday, October 6th, the Quartermaine family assembles under the weight of grief as Alexis Davis, the poised attorney, unveils the contents of Monica Quartermaine's meticulously crafted final will. The grand halls of the Quartermaine mansion echo with anticipation, as relatives from near and far, Michael Corinthos with his steadfast determination, Jason Morgan lurking in the shadows of loyalty, Brooklyn Quartermaine clutching her composure, and Ned Quartermaine exuding quiet authority gather to honor Monica's enduring spirit. Tracy Quartermaine, ever the sharp-tongued matriarch, strides in with an air of quiet assurance, her mind already envisioning a seamless transition of power that aligns with the family's storied traditions. Yet, beneath the surface of this solemn ceremony simmers a storm of intrigue, one that threatens to uproot the very foundations of their opulent home and expose long-buried secrets. Tracy's confidence stems from her deep-seated belief that Monica, in her wisdom, would bequeath the iconic Quartermaine mansion to Michael Corinthos, the eldest grandson who has risen as the family's unyielding pillar of strength. Their bond was no ordinary grandmother-grandson connection. It was forged in the fires of shared trials. From Michael's turbulent youth navigating corporate battles to Monica's quiet guidance during his darkest hours as a single father and business mogul, Monica often confided in close circles that Michael embodied the Quartermaine resilience she cherished most, grooming him through late-night strategy sessions and heartfelt advice on balancing power with compassion. As the presumed heir to ELQ and now the mansion's caretaker, Michael's inheritance seemed not just logical but poetic, a continuation of Monica's vision for a Quartermaine-led dynasty that could weather any scandal or rivalry. Tracy, in her pragmatic way, had even begun mentally reallocating rooms, imagining Michael's children filling the estate with new laughter while preserving its historical grandeur, complete with the antique furnishings and secret passageways that whispered tales of past generations. This optimism traces back to a poignant exchange just days earlier, during the Friday, October 3rd episode. At the dimly lit Quartermaine crypt, where the family paid respects amid flickering candlelight and autumn leaves scattering like forgotten promises. There, Tracy and Michael shared a rare moment of vulnerability, their words cutting through the chill as Tracy pledged an unbreakable vow to shield him from the fallout of Drew Kane's shocking shooting, a brazen act that left the Port Charles elite reeling. Tracy's eyes, usually steely with calculation, softened as she recalled Monica's generosity in allowing her to reside in the mansion for decades, despite their legendary feuds over business ethics, romantic entanglements, and Tracy's penchant for stirring chaos. "Monica gave me a home when the world turned its back," Tracy admitted in a voice laced with rare emotion, her hand briefly resting on Michael's shoulder. This gesture wasn't mere sentiment, it was Tracy's way of repaying a debt, ensuring that Monica's favored grandson wouldn't face eviction or interference from opportunistic foes like the Casadines or even internal rivals eyeing out control. In that crypt, amid marble tombs and echoing vows, Tracy solidified her role, the family's fierce guardian, unaware that fate was about to twist the knife. The Quartermaine sisters' relationship, though, was a tapestry of tension and tenderness that evolved over decades, adding layers to Tracy's expectations. From their early days clashing over Edward Quartermaine's affections, Tracy's bold schemes versus Monica's measured diplomacy, their rivalry fueled epic boardroom showdowns and whispered betrayals that captivated Port Charles society. Yet, in recent years, as health scares and family crises loomed, they forged an unlikely alliance, bonding over shared losses like the deaths of beloved spouses and the joys of grandchildren's milestones. Monica's illness brought them closer, with late evening teas in the mansion's sunroom where they dissected ELQ strategies and reminisced about youthful indiscretions, like Tracy's infamous art forgeries or Monica's forbidden affair with Rick Weber. Monica's passing, announced with a quiet dignity that belied the Quartermaine drama, struck Tracy like a thunderbolt, leaving her adrift in a sea of unspoken regrets. She had anticipated inheriting not the mansion itself. Tracy knew her abrasive style made that unlikely, but a stake that kept the property in Quartermain hands, honoring the sister who had extended olive branches amid their storms. This history underscores why the will's revelation hits harder, unraveling the fragile piece Tracy had clung to in her grief. But the room erupts in stunned silence when Alexis clears her throat and declares that the Quartermain mansion, with its sprawling gardens, vaulted libraries, and vault of family heirlooms, falls not to Michael, nor to Jason's protective vigilance, nor even to Brooklyn's creative flair for modernization. Instead, it passes to Veronica Ronnie Bard, Monica's enigmatic long-lost sister, a figure as mysterious as the fog rolling off the Port Charles docks. Ronnie, with her sharp features and air of untamed independence, emerges from obscurity like a ghost from the family's fractured past, estranged for years, to a bitter falling out over inherited fortunes and unspoken accusations of favoritism during their youth. This decision defies Monica's core character. She was the epitome of Quartermain loyalty, always prioritizing blood ties and institutional pride over outsiders, even extending to charitable causes like the hospital she helped build. Handing the estate to Ronnie, a non-Quartermain by marriage and reputation, feels like a seismic betrayal, especially when Monica shared tender moments with so many heirs, cozy dinners with Ned discussing opera, or advisory walks with Willow Tate on motherhood. The mansion, symbolizing stability amid Port Charles whirlwinds, should have gone to someone versed in its rituals, like Michael orchestrating holiday galas or Jason securing its perimeters. This anomaly sparks immediate whispers. Is it coercion, forgery, or a hidden codicil manipulated in Monica's final vulnerable days? Suspicion swirls thicker than the mansion's antique chandeliers, pointing fingers at shadowy manipulators who stand to gain from the chaos. Drew Kane, still recovering from his ordeal with a vendetta-fueled glare in his eyes, emerges as a prime suspect, his military precision perhaps twisting Monica's intentions to undermine Tracy's influence and reclaim ELQ dominance. Or consider Martin Gray, the sly attorney with a history of slippery dealings in high-stakes estates, who might have whispered doubts into Monica's ear during her bedside visits, fabricating tales of Quartermain betrayals to sway the inheritance. Inventing a new layer, imagine Martin's involvement tied to a forgotten Quartermain artifact, a jeweled brooch symbolizing lost unity that Ronnie claims as her own. Using it as leverage in forged documents, this scheme reeks of calculated malice, designed not just to dispossess, but to fracture alliances, forcing Michael to choose between family loyalty and corporate warfare. Drew's motive could deepen with resentment over past Quartermain slights, like denied board seats, while Martin's might stem from unpaid fees or a grudge against Tracy's meddling in legal affairs. Whatever the thread, this diabolical ploy unravels during the reading, with Alexis's measured tone barely masking the undercurrent of deceit, leaving the Quartermains to dissect every clause like a crime scene. Tracy's reaction unfolds as a volcanic eruption of fury, her poised facade crumbling into a torrent of accusations that echo through the mansion's corridors. She had resigned herself to not claiming the home, personally accepting that her sharp wit and history of scandals made her an improbable steward, but the idea of a Quartermain successor brought solace, envisioning continued traditions like the annual solstice balls or secret family councils. Now, robbed of that comfort, Tracy's meltdown promises fireworks, slamming fists on oak tables, demanding recounts, and unleashing verbal barrages that peel back layers of her vulnerability. Her voice, usually laced with sarcasm, cracks with raw betrayal, vowing to unearth the truth through private investigators or ELQ resources. This isn't mere tantrum, it's Tracy channeling the Quartermain fire, refusing to let an interloper erase decades of her presence, from hosting lavish soirees to nurturing Dylan's artistic dreams in its studios. Fans can anticipate her rallying allies, perhaps enlisting Lois Cerullo for emotional support or Scott Baldwin for legal counters, turning the will reading into a battleground where personal stakes collide with legacy preservation. The brewing conflict between Tracy and Ronnie adds fuel to this inferno, their initial encounter crackling with electric hostility from the outset. Tracy, architect of emotional fortresses, meets Ronnie's straightforward demeanor with immediate barbs, dismissing her as an opportunistic drifter unfit for the mansion's hallowed grounds. Ronnie, portrayed as a resilient survivor with a background in investigative journalism and covering scandals from New York to Port Charles, retorts with unflinching resolve, her eyes flashing like storm clouds over the harbor. Unlike Tracy's theatrical flair, Ronnie's style is direct, honed from years navigating estrangement, perhaps including a fabricated subplot where she exposed a Quartermaine cousin's embezzlement in the 90s. Their clash isn't superficial. It pits Tracy's entrenched entitlement against Ronnie's fresh perspective, potentially escalating to heated debates over mansion renovations or heirloom distributions. Yet, Ronnie appears sidelined from the conspiracy, her shock mirroring the family's wide-eyed disbelief as Alexis hands her the keys, suggesting she's an unwitting tool in a larger game. Could she be complicit, feigning innocence with Oscar-worthy subtlety? Or is she truly blindsided, her arrival in Port Charles motivated by genuine reconciliation rather than greed? Delving into their sisterly reconciliation offers poignant contrast amid the turmoil. Though estranged for over 2 decades stemming from a heated dispute over their mother's nursing home care, and accusations of Monica favoring Edward Ronnie, and Monica bridged the gap through a series of heartfelt letters exchanged in Monica's waning months. These missives, penned in flowing script on scented stationery, detailed regrets over lost holidays, shared memories of childhood escapades like sneaking into father's study, and even Ronnie's invented tales of her nomadic life, from volunteering in European clinics to mentoring young journalists. Monica's responses brimmed with forgiveness, enclosing photos of Quartermaine gatherings and invitations to visit, fostering a peace that Ronnie claims healed old wounds. According to Ronnie's accounts, these exchanges culminated in tearful phone calls where Monica expressed pride in her sister's independence, a far cry from their youth's competitiveness. But skepticism lingers. Were these letters authentic, or tampered with by schemers like Martin to plant the inheritance seed? Time alone will reveal if this bond was genuine redemption or a cleverly staged facade. As tensions peak, Ronnie's stance hardens against any slight, her no-nonsense attitude ensuring she won't tolerate Tracy's barbs or attempts to undermine the will. Believing devoutly in Monica's choice, perhaps viewing it as a final act of inclusion to mend their fractured sibling tie, Ronnie vows to uphold her sister's wishes, patrolling the mansion like a sentinel. If Tracy escalates with lawsuits or sabotage, Ronnie could retaliate decisively, issuing an eviction notice that echoes through the estate's grand foyer. Just Tracy alone, targeted for her insolence and history of disruptions, or a sweeping purge affecting the entire clan, forcing Michael to relocate his family to a temporary penthouse, Jason to brood in undisclosed safe houses, Brooke Lynn to improvise from her music studio, and Ned to negotiate with hotel magnates. This upheaval disrupts daily rhythms from morning coffee rituals in the solarium to evening chess matches by the fireplace, scrambling the Quartermaines into a diaspora of uncertainty, with whispers of motels or Corinthos compounds as makeshift homes. Inventing further drama, envision auxiliary effects like disrupted ELQ meetings in the boardroom or lost access to the family vault, amplifying the sense of dispossession. Ultimately, while the Quartermaine clan braces for weeks of heated confrontations, courtroom skirmishes, and alliance shifts, this inheritance bombshell smacks of orchestrated mischief aimed squarely at destabilizing Tracy's world. It's a cunning ploy, likely from Drew's vengeful playbook or Martin's legal labyrinths, intended to expose fractures and provoke revelations that could redefine Port Charles' power dynamics. As the dust settles, expect twists involving hidden clauses or Ronnie's true allegiances to surface, keeping loyalties in flux. Next, we will learn about the eerie return of Nathan West and the mounting suspicions that could unravel everything in Port Charles. As the town buzzes with excitement over Dr. Liesel Obrich's long-lost son making a miraculous comeback, whispers of doubt begin to circulate among the most loyal fans. Imagine the hospital corridors alive with relieved smiles and heartfelt reunions, Yet beneath the surface, an undercurrent of unease simmers, particularly from those closest to the West family. Nathan's supposed resurrection, after years of mourning, should be a pure triumph, but subtle cues suggest a darker twist, lurking in the shadows of this joyous event. Britt Westburn, ever the sharp-witted doctor with a complicated past, arrives at the hospital expecting unbridled happiness upon hearing the news of her brother's survival. Instead, her demeanor shifts dramatically, tightened jaw, averted eyes, and a forced smile that doesn't reach her soul, hinting at secrets she's desperate to bury. Last week's episode captured this tension perfectly, with Britt hovering near the bedside like a guardian of forbidden knowledge, her usual sarcasm replaced by palpable anxiety. Adding fuel to the fire, she actively intervened to delay little James West from his first embrace with his father, citing vague concerns about the boy's emotional readiness. But fans sense it's more than maternal protectiveness at play. This unusual behavior paints a picture of betrayal, as if Britt is shielding James from an imposter who wears her brother's face but harbors a venomous heart. Viewers of ABC General Hospital have long speculated that the man in that hospital gown is the heroic Nathan West they cherished, but rather the ghost of Caesar Faison rising from the grave once more. The evidence mounts like storm clouds over the waterfront, a mysterious package of medication delivered to Britt, complete with a cryptic note initialed C, evoking Faison's signature flair for dramatic intrigue. Then there's Professor Henry Hank Dalton's cutting-edge lab initiative at Port Charles University, delving into experimental genetics and neural mapping that eerily mirrors the kind of mad science Faison thrived on during his criminal heyday. Don't overlook Britt's secretive excursion to the opulent Five Poppies Resort, a secluded haven known for housing shady dealings, where she was spotted in hushed conversations with unknown figures, perhaps coordinating the next phase of this elaborate ruse. The climactic moment came in the sterile hospital room, where Nathan locked eyes with Britt in a stare down so intense it sent chills through the screen. A silent battle of wills that screamed unspoken threats and buried truths. What if this Nathan is indeed Caesar, resurrected through forbidden biotechnology like advanced cloning that duplicates not just appearance but mannerisms? Or a daring brain transplant blending the worst of two villains into one deceptive form? Soap opera lore has seen wilder resurrections, from cryogenic revivals to identity swaps, and General Hospital excels at weaving these fantastical threads into emotional tapestries. Yet, exposing this charade won't be straightforward for Anna Devane and the steadfast Team Shro, the group's informal network of truth seekers, including Felicia Scorpio and Max Scorpio, who rely on intuition and old alliances. Britt holds the key, but her lips are sealed, likely bound by Caesar's manipulative web. Imagine the leverage he wields, from blackmailing her with exposed medical ethics violations to endangering her loved ones like her mother Liesel, or even rationing vital treatments for a hidden ailment plaguing the Westburn line. The spill of secrets might come indirectly: a slipped document in the lab, an overheard phone call at the resort, or James innocently repeating a phrase only the real Nathan would know. Cracking the facade wide open, delving deeper into Caesar Faison's psyche reveals a lifelong fixation on Anna Devane that borders on tragic obsession, turning her into his ultimate vulnerability. From their early encounters in the shadowy world of international espionage, where Anna's WSB exploits first crossed paths with his criminal empire, Faison viewed her as both muse and nemesis, a siren whose intellect and grace ignited a passion he couldn't extinguish. He wasn't content with admiration. His attraction manifested in possessive acts like the multiple abductions during their youth that blended romance with captivity, each time engineering scenarios for stolen moments under duress. These escapades often led to his downfalls, as Anna's clever escapes and unyielding pursuit by authorities like Robert Scorpio repeatedly foiled his plans, yet only deepened his infatuation. Faison's love was a toxic brew of desire and delusion, imagining a future where she ruled by his side in a criminal dynasty, blind to her true loyalties. In stark contrast, the genuine Nathan West shared a platonic bond with Anna, forged in professional respect and shared battles against Port Charles villains. But his heart forever belonged to Maxie Jones. Their romance was the stuff of fairy tales amid chaos, stolen kisses in Metro Court ballrooms, heartfelt vows during family crises, and Nathan's ultimate sacrifice leaving Maxie a widow raising their son alone. Picture the shock rippling through the Q family mansion if this Nathan veers from script, boldly flirting with Anna in a private consultation room, his eyes lingering too long as he murmurs about her timeless allure or the way her presence commands the room. Such an overture would shatter the illusion, a glaring anomaly from the devoted husband fans mourned since his 2018 demise in that explosive clinic showdown. Maybe he lets slip a Fasonian quip, referencing a long-forgotten rendezvous in Vienna where Anna outwitted him, or recalls the scent of her perfume from one of his botched kidnappings. Details no mere friend could know. Of course, the imposter might scramble to cover his tracks, chuckling it off as post-trauma delirium from the plane crash that miraculously spared him, or blaming pain meds from muddled memories. Yet, these excuses would only heighten Anna's legendary instincts, honed from decades dismantling spy rings and cartel operations. Her spidey senses tingling like they did when uncovering the DVX plots of yore. Envision her pausing mid-conversation, her piercing gaze dissecting his every word, as doubts flood her mind about the man before her. This flirtation, in just a plot device, it's a narrative bombshell, signaling Caesar's insidious takeover, perhaps through experimental serum administered at the resort, merging souls in a way that echoes the show's history of body possessions and identity crises. As ABC General Hospital teases this unfolding drama, the implications stretch far beyond one bedside encounter, potentially reigniting old vendettas and forging unlikely alliances. Fans are left on the edge, theorizing how Maxie might react to these overtures, her grief twisting into fury if she senses the betrayal, or how Liesl could confront her own role in Faison's legacy. The lab at PCU might hold more horrors, with Hank Dalton unwittingly or wittingly advancing tech that could clone an army of imposters, threatening the fragile peace in Port Charles. Brit's resort visits could tie into a larger syndicate, pulling in figures like Valentin Casadini for shadowy funding, expanding the conspiracy into international waters. Ultimately, this storyline promises twists that honor the show's rich tapestry of deception and redemption, keeping viewers hooked as the truth claws its way to the surface.